Happy lunch hour. Happy Monday to everybody, and welcome to Sioux City. Dan Vaughn with you. Told you I'd probably be in the room, and that's the case. So I do have my little backdrop behind me, so I guess that's sort of, there we go, turn just a tan. There we go. Little backdrop behind me. But anyway, let's check the audio. Looks like the audio is good. Looks like we're rolling right along here. Turn the mic down just a tad. A pretty decent day here. Just got back from my morning walk a little while ago, about an hour ago, and fine morning. Temperatures, I think when I walked out, it was in the 70s. I'll see what it is right now. There was a little rain at 76 right now. A little rain last night coming in. Just some light sprinkles. It wasn't major showers or anything like that. And actually, by the time we actually got checked in last night, it pretty much stopped. And bones are out there right now. A little partly cloudy, but nothing to really worry about. That's kind of pretty much what we've seen. A flag right outside the door here. They got a U.S. flag flying here in the lobby of the hotel, and it's blowing, it looks like, sort of out of the southwest maybe. So where the ballpark sits, that means it's blowing out to right, if that's the way the wind stays tonight. We'll look at that when we get there. Mercy Field at Lewis and Clark Park is just down the hill from us. We're here in an area called, I believe it's Whispering Hills, up above the ballpark. And there's this big ridge that parallels Highway 20 that goes east and west. And we're maybe, I don't know, a mile and a half inside the Iowa border, because the Missouri River runs parallel to right here. So runs north and south, and that's where Nebraska side. But anyway, geography lesson there. Hope you guys are doing well. Comments, questions, anything like that. I got all that for you here. Give you a full screen here. Got my mocha this morning. I've never had this brand, and I thought about this in the off season. I think what I'm going to do. We've done so many shows at coffee shops throughout the American Association. Good morning, Kenny. How you doing, mate? Or good afternoon to you. Might do a little bit of coffee reviews in the off season. Part of our shows, our hot stove shows. We might even bring you some kind of, I can kind of review some of the ones we went to. We've been to obviously the Mill in Lincoln's a favorite. The place that escapes my name now in Milwaukee, we really liked a lot. But Carrie Gillespie, remember, she's let's see here. Yes, Black Rifle, Corey. It's black. I've never had it. I've heard. I read about it. It's made by veterans, veteran-owned company. I've not been to one of their shops. I don't even know much about where they're from, but I did read, and unfortunately, I think they're Utah. I think that's where, if I remember correctly, they're a Utah-based company. They've got some locations out in Salt Lake, and I think up in maybe Ogden, in that direction. But I've never had their coffee, but the Casey's across the street from here in the hotel had it. They didn't have it last time. So really good stuff. But we will have to get around and do some reviews perhaps. Of course, we love Coffea in Sioux Falls. We shot more shows at Coffea this year than any other place in the league. That's been the biggest one. Second one would be the Mill. We shot 2 shows in the Mill there in Lincoln. But anyway, Corey, yeah, good stuff. It is good. Watch party night. Good luck. Yeah, matter of fact, I'm glad you reminded me of that, Anthony, as I've got to get those details to Morgan so you guys can get the video and all that up too. I'll get that to her shortly. And the watch party, it's $10 all you can eat pyramid pizza, which talk about a fat kid loving snacks. That's one I love right there. Pyramid pizza, good stuff. And I believe they made Friday night. I believe they made 94 pies Friday night. That sounds right. It's close to 100. I think Monica would know if she's out there. Maybe somebody from hospitality would know. But good day today. I see. Looks like Jameson walking the parking lot there. Guys, kind of getting about here. 3:45 bus today, so we got a little time. And we're right here. We're 5 minutes to the ballpark, and there's a couple places across the street. I'm going to be having a little lunch in a moment, but some of the guys kind of milling about. And like I said, just Getting ready for tonight. They can't really. I didn't know that. We just got one of those. Don't we have a new one there in Kansas City? Or am I dreaming that? Am I dreaming that, Corey? That sounds right. I know I know that somewhere I've been recently. They just got a brand new, a couple new ones. You know, it might be a DFW. Maybe that's where I'm thinking. We do. Okay, so it is Kansas. I know I've seen it. I know I've seen something on TV. I know I was watching, I believe, 41 the other night, and I think it came up on 41. I think I'm almost positive. Yeah, it's good stuff. I love, of course, you know, I support veterans, troops, all that stuff. In this time of year and what we've been going through as a country the last few weeks. And again, not to be political here, I don't think you have to be political. You can vote for any party you want to, but still support your armed forces and freedom. I watched a really cool thing last night. I got roped in. I'll tell you guys this before I dive into the whole highlights of the weekend. I watched a thing called Flight Squadron. I think it was a 1929 silent movie. When the last tail end of the silent movie era, it was on Turner Classic last night. I got roped in and dove in big time. I mean, big time. And usually silent movies sort of, they don't really always move the needle for me. But this one did, and I dove in. It was kind of cool because they actually had some sound effects mixed in. Basically what it was, I think it was called Flight Squadron. I got to look that up because I looked it up last night. And I got roped in almost the whole movie when we got in last night. It was on, they do a Sunday night silent before the talkies. Free transportation to first. That's what they would have talked about back in the talkie days. It was called Flying Fleet. About the flying planes, early naval aviators on the USS Langley is basically what it was. The USS Langley was originally a World War I ship that was some kind of battleship type flotilla, decommissioned and the hull was reused as the USS Langley, which became one of the early, the thing was the first aircraft carrier of what would become known as the Enterprise class eventually during World War II, but it was the first one. And if you've ever seen a shot of the USS Langley, the Langley was unlike the carriers you may have seen, modern ones we've seen now, and also World War II. This one was a converted battleship, so it had nothing but a flat top, and there was no side tower and all that. But anyway, it's about the USS Langley, about the pilots. It was a melodramatic love story. The star at the time, I believe, was Anita Page, who was like the big silent film star of the late 20s and retired, which I didn't know about this. I read all this last night. She retired from film in like 1930 something when the talkies came out, made a comeback for a short time during the war, and then retired, made another comeback in the 60s, but a comeback in the 90s and like did movies in the 2000s. I didn't know this. I mean, what I learned all kinds of stuff. I anyway, but I dove in last night. The whole thing was, it was kind of cool because they were showing these old, there was an early, they were the early sort of Blue Angels equivalent, right? So these are biplanes, right? I know I'm getting way off topic here, folks, so bear with me. We'll get back to baseball, I promise, here on Monarchs Mocha. They're biplanes. They also had torpedo planes too. And this is going to be 1929. We're still, 12 years away from Pearl Harbor, basically, right? But they had, flying. They'd also had some treaties where they made the military smaller and all that. And I won't get into that. But anyway, they had this big, huge flying boat plane that was going to Hawaii and back. It was a big deal. And these pilots are flying it to Hawaii and back. On the way to Hawaii, they ran into some weather, and they went down with the Langley. The other rival for Anita, the two rivals for this woman, were one was on the carrier. He had to go try to rescue his mate, who he was kind of ticked off at because the mate had taken his chick, right? two guys fighting over a young lady. That's that part of that's the storyline in Hollywood in 1920s, right? I mean, 1930s, 40s, 50s. That's Hollywood storyline. I mean, still teen drama today, right? It's something we've seen. So you've seen this line before, so that's kind of the premise of it, right? This is early Top Gun. This is actually filmed. Part of it was filmed in San Diego at the naval station there and at the Coronado Hotel and all this back in the. And it was kind of cool to see 1920s America, but to see these guys, this early Blue Angels group. And I can't remember the name of what they were called. They were an aerobatic team. They were doing stunts in these biplanes. And if you've ever been up next to a biplane before, 1920s, 30s plane, those things aren't made like they're made today. They're not. This is not a. We're not talking about a 777 going to the runway at O'Hare, right? These things were. They were talking about tied together with baling wire, right? And they were doing all these. I'm thinking, and of course the pilots were mostly exposed, you know. So anyway, I got roped in last night. I couldn't help but watch. My point was, I began to think more and more about, and it parlayed back to the whole troops thing, that it wasn't just the troops in World War II, World War I, but all the troops. I'm talking about Vietnam, our conflicts today, Civil War, Revolutionary War, Spanish American, you name it. So I dove down that rabbit hole, and I just fought my way out, the USS Langley, but I got roped into a silent picture last night. And it was really interesting. I mean, I hadn't even known, a couple of these actors apparently were a really big deal, and I didn't know it. And I guess the deal was, if you were a silent actor, most of the silent actors and actresses, they retired once the talkies came out. Very few became stars in both. There were some. There were a lot that did, but a lot of the mainstream ones. For example, this one guy, I hadn't even heard of him. And his name was... This guy's name was, well, I can't find it here. There it is. Ramon Navarro, who sounds like he should play in our league, right? I mean, right? Kind of a baseball name. Well, I mean, he was this big, he was like the Valentino, after Valentino died, he was the Valentino. And then there's been a movie made about him later on in the 50s when he got murdered in LA and all this stuff. So I didn't know anything about this stuff. So anyway, real education last night for me. Okay, let's go back to baseball. Did Casey take off his red and white Chiefs makeup before the ball? Yes, he was not in full gear. Now, what Kenny's mentioning is that Casey Strong, our driver, did go to the Airhead yesterday. I do believe he left when the Browns were up. And if you know the result yesterday, the Chiefs Kingdom very happy because the Browns wound up, and poor Paul Morgan, my broadcast partner in Australia, in Perth, was watching the game. At the time, it was 5 a.m. in Perth, and he was looking good because he's a big Browns fan. And, I mean, a long-suffering Brown. I mean, I've known the guy since 2012, but prior to that, in his house there in Perth, he has a picture of his wife, Tiana, and him at the Browns game circa 1998 or 9 or somewhere in there, when they were first dating. They weren't even married then. And they had met in Toronto and came across to go to Cleveland. He's a big Browns guy. Okay. So anyway, but Paulie just was, and I didn't know what to text him last night because it looked really good for the Browns. Now, if you had the total over, you probably felt good about that too, right? But anyway, Casey left in the third quarter. Of course, the punt was blocked and things went haywire for the Browns. Chiefs were, you can't get the ball to Patrick Mahomes the 20-yard line and expect to hold him out of there. It's not going to happen. And by the way, I will throw this in there, Kenny, because you are a OU guy. I don't know if you know this, but Texas Tech did a really cool deal. They've got a partnership with the Chiefs. I don't think I've ever thought of this in these terms, but granted, Texas Tech is a big sponsor partner with the Chiefs. And it was all over, apparently, Arrowhead and all over kinds of graphics and social. It's pretty cool. I mean, I know it's not OU, but it was an OU guy going against a Tech guy. And it reminded me, Kenny, of the game, what was it, 2000. What was the game they played there in Lubbock that was Mahomes last year? And it would have been, I guess it would have been his junior year. But they played in Lubbock and it was like 66-64. The game went on for like 9 hours. I got video of that game somewhere on my phone. I got to pull that up. I picked up the Black K copy, so it's good. It's good stuff, right? I mean, it's good. This is the Black Rifle Espresso Mocha. Let me get caught up here. Are they all healthy and ready to go? Yes, everybody's healthy, ready to go. This is Jim in 2019. This was not the feeling I had then. I didn't have that feeling, despite the fact that every team that's won in this series, the two teams that played in this series before, 18 and 19, the game one winner did not win the series. That was the stat we gave you on Saturday night, where the Monarchs did win and up 2-0. 18 series, I felt pretty good because that one you split the series, you split at home, and I kind of felt 50-50 about it. And the 19 season, Jim, that was a tough one because the team was banged up and they really weren't. They were just on their. They'd fought so hard to get to that division crown, winning those 14 in a row, coming from way back in the early part of August, and the tank was empty. That's sort of what I get a feeling with Sioux City, although they were in a three-way battle, and it wasn't like anybody won 10 in a row. It kind of, but similar sort of storyline, not quite the same, but sort of. Saturday night was huge because now you've got a chance, 3 chances to win one. And unlike the 19 season when, you had guys that they were barely stand up and field. I mean, couldn't even run the bases. You've got a really healthy ball club, and I think they're all ready to go. This is a really special unit. The 18 unit was special, the 19 unit was special, even the 17 team was special. They're always special, and this one's special too. It's its own personality. They really are. They're relaxed. You would have thought this could be a normal road trip. It's not. You would not really know it was a playoff trip because they're just doing what they do. Let's see here. Sioux City, a bunch of complainers. It's great to have a great coach staff. And I get, and David, you've got a good point there. They came a little unraveled the other night. I don't know. I've not talked to anybody from there. I'll probably know more tonight, but they had a little unraveling on Saturday. Now, I think the plate umpire, Kiefer, is the best in the league. As a matter of fact, that's who I voted for as the umpire of the year. I don't know if he's going to get it or not. That's who I liked. He called it both ways, I thought. Now, there were a couple of calls, and if you listen to the tape, that I was like, oh, okay, well. But it was, consistently, he was consistently in that was his zone. Now, whether you like the zone or not is one thing. The only thing I've always asked, and I think this is what we all ask, if your zone is different, if you have a different zone than maybe umpire B, at least the zone's consistent. By the third or fourth inning, you ought to have a pretty good idea, right? You know that. LT Tolbert that got tossed on Diaz a strikeout. That would have been a strike all day. And a strike to Cadence against left-handed batters. That would have been a strike all day. And that in the 5th inning had been a strike all day. Okay. As a matter of fact, Sampson got in some trouble with the walks by missing that pitch a little bit. Remember, Almeida set up outside and was a little too far outside. It was close. And there had been some close calls that had gone both ways. And the Monarchs dodged the bullets. Again, there was a bases loaded situation twice. And again, I swear I thought Sampson got that out of corner. He just didn't. It was missing by, I look back at the video, inches, centimeters, millimeters, whatever you want to call it. But my only thing is, if you're going to consistently do what you're doing, then I got no problem with that. And I don't think Sioux City liked that. I didn't like the fact they didn't like the zone and made it well known. I would tell you the Bobby Post meeting. I don't know this for a fact, but I would guess the pitching coach who went out and had a conversation. That was for a reason. I don't think anybody in the ballpark thought any other reason than that was the reason to get tossed. He got out there, and Kiefer got out there. They got into it. He tossed him. Tolbert got tossed by dropping whatever he dropped on the crowd mic, and you guys heard it. If you were there, you heard it. You're going to get tossed for that. Steve Montgomery, I don't know. I don't know if that was warranted. I don't know if you really want to toss a manager in that situation. But he did. They were barking, and they were warned multiple times by Clay Park and Jeff Head, the crew chief, I believe, and by Kiefer to stop. And you could hear it clear. If you were in the ballpark, you heard it, and they didn't do it. Down the road, I will give you more insight to that story, but I'm going to just stop right there because I have some hot opinions on what happened and what's happened between the two teams. Not so much the teams. The teams I don't think have any issue with each other at all. It's a rivalry. It's play, and then that's another thing. It's playoff baseball. You're trying to avoid going 0-2. And for Sioux City, they win Saturday night. That's huge. It's a series spinner right there. The series spins right there. But you look back on it, David, and I think what you're going to realize is that those key situations Kansas City delivered, Sioux City didn't, despite what unhappiness. There was unhappiness in the Monarchs dugout. They were chirping too here and there. I mean, I know one point they looked over at someone down there, and it happens. But yeah, I was not happy with that. But yeah, I do think the Monarchs represent well, and I think they're a class group. It was a pitching. Let's see, if I was pitching when the coach was throwing. If I was pitching when the coach was throwing and then he walked in front of me, I would throw the ball. You can walk again. That's kind of an unwritten rule as well. Walking in front of the pitcher once you've been tossed is kind of it's kind of a crappy thing too. I agree with you. Yeah, I agree. You could walk that slow walk. As a matter of fact, we had a great conversation. Do you remember the conversation when Milwaukee was in town, David? And Anthony Barone, who's just a great guy, Milwaukee manager. Remember, he deliberately kind of walked about 10 feet down the third base line, around the bag, and around the grass, and around the 6 hole, in the shallow left field, did a big turn. And I kind of talked to him the next day. I said, Anthony, you took your time, and he made a big, he goes, well, I didn't want to get by his way. I want to get my walk in, and he was kind of funny about it. And he wasn't being, and he was out of the way. And, you can still do your slow walk and do it. They're not going to make you walk any. They don't put a prod to you and say walk faster to get ejected. You can crawl if you want to. I mean, there's that. So yeah, it was pretty cool. 2018 won it, Kenny. Yeah, I'm going to wait. 2 questions. As the team store open during the non-home game times, also how does a manager compete with the bullpen at this level? There's no dugout phone clearly. Signs, first off, yes, to answer your first question, team stores open, should be open now. It should be open now. I believe the hours, I believe they're 10 to 5, 10 to 4. But I know they're open now. They're open in the daytime. I know they're open. And somebody's there. If they're not in the store, Jay Hendricks is there next door. They'll take care of it. Yes, the team store is open on non-game days currently. I don't know what the winter hours are going to be. That's a different story. But right now, yes, Chris. 2 things. You can use, if both teams have them, you can use radios or phones. Now in Kansas City, there is a bullpen phone. It was working at one point. I don't know if it still is. I know that Dave Chick, who's our IT guy, had those working opening day. I don't know what has happened to them. I assume they still work. I don't know. If not, and what you'll hear me sometimes say on the broadcast, it's pretty simple. It's there'll be a gesture for they want obviously a lefty up, right? And they usually talk. Let's say before the ball game, they'll say, let's just say it's, obviously your lefty's Diaz in the bullpen, right? So Diaz and Lindgren are your lefties. And they may have a signal for taller lefty, shorter lefty, or they may have a signal for, maybe this means, whatever. There may be a signal. And then they know, they've already talked it out that we're ahead, we're going to do this usually. Now, there's a signal way of doing it. Or here in Sioux City, it's harder to do in Kansas City. So in Kansas City, you'll watch them, they'll usually use the phone. Here, for example, Bill Sobey or Mike Henneman, who Mike is here, will look down. They'll look down the right field line. They'll go, maybe tall, righty, or they may have something else. There may be, I'm trying to think of somebody in the past. This used to be Winarski. They just go, that meant Winarski was to get up. Just kind of go like this. You just knew that's a W. And they clearly do it, get up. And that would tell them to get Winarski to get up. He would get up. And that was, or then the other thing is they'll, Sobey or Henneman or whoever will come out, tip the cap as in, hey, is he ready? And if you get a tip of the cap, and they'll wait, if the reliever's ready, but this is all going on, so it's a cat and mouse you don't always see. If we're watching the game, you may not see it. But oftentimes you might see Joe or somebody go like this. That means go talk to the pitcher. So Almeida or Wasinger goes out and talks to the pitcher, buys some time, and they'll look down the way, and they'll take the cap. Is he ready yet? And they'll do this, and they don't get anything. And finally, whoever's down there, there's someone watching. There'll be somebody looking back, whether it be usually another reliever or someone down there will go and tip the cap back, meaning he's ready. And then they'll make the move. Those are it's all signals. Of course, it's always signals at third, but there's also bullpen signals. And they differentiate for getting Diaz and Lindgren. If you got two lefties, well, there's going to be how you differentiate. There's a way they do it. And it might be, one for Diaz, two for Lindgren, or it might be, whatever the case may be. And they've already talked through this, and they know in their pre-scouting sessions before the ball game what the plan probably is going to be. And they know who's up and who's down. There's some days, for example, where guys have worked 3 days in a row, he's down today, he's off. So you're not going to see, let's say, a course of a 4-game series in Cleveland last week, or maybe a better example is the whole road trip. Let's say a guy works Monday, Tuesday, he's off Wednesday in the bullpen, and he's not going to be available. So he's down that day. And there's a way they know who's up and who's down. And sometimes a guy comes to Joe and says, Joe, I'm okay today. I know I work back-to-back days, but I can go a third day. So he'd be up. But they know who's up and down, and that's why you'll hear me reference sometimes. I'll ask Joe on the top step who's available, who's not available, and he'll let us know who's available, who's not available. Very good question, though, Chris. Yeah, I did not like the fact that cooler heads had to prevail. I didn't like the fact there was drama in Cleveland with Cleveland and Sioux City. I do worry about that. I do believe when you play a team a lot that happens, but I don't think Kansas City will be drawn off sides. I think, and this is not putting words in the mouth, but I'll ask you as a fan, Chris, who do you think the better team is? And when you think you're the better team, let me re-ask the question. Who knows who the better team is? I get the feeling as a fan and as an observer that the Monarchs believe they're the better club and they're going to go out and do their business. They're not worried about what Sioux City's going to do. They're not worried about what kind of tricks they pull. They're not worried about any kind of drama. They're going to go out. The Monarchs are going to do what the Monarchs do. And that's been the whole storyline really going back since July. You do what you do. And you don't worry about – I don't think they're worried one iota about what happens in that dugout, what screaming happens. They don't care. They're going out to win a ball game, win a series, and keep moving on. That's their only goal, and they're not distracted. And I have not heard one thing about them talking bad about Sioux City. I've not heard anything bad about them talking about anything what they've done. Nothing. There's no, hey, let's go kick their – none of that. Now, down the road, I'll pull the curtain back on some things I heard from Sioux City, but I'm not going to do that now. That's not important. So, down the road. Best bunch of players, yes, I'd agree. And we've talked about this too, guys. How often have we talked about it's not just the X's and O's of it, the stats of it. And I think this is where I was talking about on Saturday about the whole Joe Capietta thing. That, yes, it's important to bat 300 and be able to hit 20 home runs. That's very important, right? I mean, or a guy to go out and throw strikes and have an ERA of sub-3. But it's also important to have a guy that's a good person, a good representation of your city, of your brand. Remember, this is a different brand. This is not the T-Bones. This is the Kansas City Monarchs. And if you know the Monarchs' history, the Monarchs are first class. They were the best behaved, best dressed. They were in a time, quite frankly, when the racial tension was part of the racial tension from the white side was that the black side didn't behave themselves at sporting events. If you look at some of the game stories and some of the historical accounts that they were trying to, in sports crowds in general, were thought of as unruly bunches. And that's why when they encouraged ladies to start going to games in the 1920s and 30s because they thought it would make the crowd behave. But if the white crowd was misbehaving, well, the white crowd thought the black crowd was worse, and that was terrible. And that's not the way it was. That's not what it should have been. But the Monarchs, and got to remember, the Negro Leagues were a little bit up and down. There was some thievery going on from players, stealing players, playing illegal players. We're going to talk about that tonight a little bit on our broadcast. But the Monarchs are always the best. They were the sharpest acting. They were always classy. They would get off the bus or they got off the Pullman car, dress the nines. If you look at the uniform pictures, I was looking at this yesterday, walking the concourse Saturday. And, the Satchel Paige photo, I think it's the 1945 jersey. 45 home uniform. They had the numbers on their pants. I mean, that was unheard of back in the day. They had numbers on the pants, on the front quarter panel. They had a really good looking uniforms with the patches, the KC patch, all that. And so what I'm telling you is these guys represent that brand as well and that name, Bob Kendrick and the Negro Leagues Museum. And I think it's important. It's always been important with Joe, but Joe gets guys who represent the city, the brand, him, the ownership, everything, and who represent well, who are not in it for me. And the funny thing about it is, and I've talked about this a lot, when you get guys that get it in life, and I mean get it, you get people, and this is any business. You give me a business, you tell me a business is successful, there's a get it culture about them, okay? You know this. There's a get it culture. I mean, I would tell you the Chiefs have a get it culture. And that all starts with ownership and who's a GM and who's a coach, all that. Any successful business, I don't care if it's a dentist office, a gas station, or whatever. You're plastering drywall. I mean, whatever. You get it culture. You get it. You're going to be successful. That doesn't mean you're going to always win the championship, but that matters. The culture matters here, and there's no doubt that what you're saying is you have the best business players. You are right. Communicate, yes. There's a team store at Legends. There is. I don't know if that's that where was one, Judy. They've moved all that over to the ballpark, but yes, there was one. Yeah, the season started. We closed it. I believe it closed May. It may have been June 1. It's been, but yeah, we had one. It was great. I shot a couple of shows there, and they moved all those displays over to the ballpark and all the merchandise over there too. All right, you guys want to see some highlights from Saturday, don't you? Right? You probably saw these on Twitter, but I'm gonna give them to you anyway. It's the good news highlights in 3, 2, 1. A lot of home runs on this one. Willis hits one out toward right, drifting back, at the track, at the wall, gone. See you later. He will touch them all. Oh, yeah, that home run hill in right field. See you later. See you later. It's 3-1 Kansas City. On the T-Mobile home run hill. Oh, man, oh, man. Ain't no doubter. And Lane Milligan just turned and said, yep, that's gone. The way the 2-2. There's one hit out towards center field. That's pretty well hit. On the run is Harris at the wall. That ball is gone. See you later. A grand slam home run. He will touch them all.
He got every stitch of that ball.
Oh, man, oh, man.
Ain't no doubter. Lane Milligan just turned and said,
See
yep, that's gone.
you later. Grand slam home run. These two franchises, 2-1. Hit out toward left field, at the track, at the wall. This ball is gone. See you later. He will touch them all.
Is gone. See you later. A grand flight.
Over the mini monster. I'd like insurance for a solo shot, please. You got it.
Touch them all. Oh, man, oh, man.
Willis hits one out toward right, drifting back, at the track, at the wall, gone. See you later. I do believe we're dragging. It's one of those rare times where
Oh, yeah,
the video.
that home run hill in right field. See you later.
I think we're done here. I think we're done. I think that's where. I think you guys saw them all. One of those rare times. Lately, it's not been the case. Hold on. Let me stop this real quick because I've sometimes it drags a little bit on the road, and it hadn't been dragging lately, and all of a sudden it drags. Sorry about that, but better get a move on it, Chris. Hope you do it. Come to the game tonight, so excited. Looking forward to having you come out the ballpark. Gotcha. Better get a move on. Better get a move on. All right, broadcast time tonight. Again, I'll take your questions and comments, last questions and last call on comments. A couple things in that ball game. Connor Willis, by the way, Connor will appear today at 3:30 on Facebook Live with Carter Waddell in the American Association whip around. So that'll be 3:30. Go to the American Association AA Baseball, or go to Facebook, and you're on Facebook now. Just type in American Association Baseball. That'll be at 3:30. But Colin will be on that show today. We're actually heading to the ballpark around that time, but he's taping it a little earlier, I think. So looking forward to seeing that. So I encourage you folks to see that. Check it out on the American Association site. It's their Facebook page right there. But on that note, Colin and Ibn Elisabel. Now I can't confirm this. I'm having a hard time finding out because that's just something it's hard to dig and do this one. But I do believe, and I was telling my wife this, that is the first time two players in the same team have had a multiple home run game in the same series. Okay? And both those two gentlemen with two home runs in both Friday and Saturday joined others, a handful of others who'd all done that feat before. Now, they're on pace to get to perhaps be top the list as far as home runs in a series. I believe it just takes one more to be a 3 home run series for them, and would be up the playoff total, top of the list there. So head to the watch party. Good. Get out there. Looking forward to seeing you guys out there. I'll be on at 6 with you folks. Or about 6:15, actually, around there. So we go on the air at 6:35. But that's note 101. I don't have their starter yet. Let me double check and see if Connor's text me. Last I checked, it'll be Justin Donatello for Kansas City. I don't believe I've got anything from Connor yet. Well, Connor just texted me 5 minutes ago. It'll be left-hander Yario Laborte. Now, Laborte, we talked about him a little bit. He was signed by the Explorers. Well, he was on their inactive list. Oops, sorry. He was on their inactive list, was signed or moved from the inactive list to their active roster right before the roster came out on Thursday for the series. Now, what I can tell you is, first off, the 27-year-old Dominican Republic played the major leagues. The Tigers was in 2017. Debuted in 17. He just spent a short time in 17. He was traded for originally a Blue Jays farmhand, traded to the Tigers, added the 40-man, debut in 17, September 1st, in the call-ups. He was assigned, though, designated for assignment in February. So he was only there for a short time. A waiver claimed by the Reds, and was claimed by the Oakland Athletics after he was designated for assignment again. Returned to the Tigers again as a minor league contract, and then released on May 22nd of 18. White Sox picked him up on a minor league contract, released on July 2nd of 2018. The Rays had him for a short time, released him in 19. Sioux City picked him up after the 19th season. He was signed, but not added to the roster until just this week. And because he was signed last year. They didn't play. Then he was chosen, was not chosen in the dispersal draft, became a free agent, returned to the Explorers, and was signed with the 21 season. His numbers most recently, and I dug this up, and I can't say this with 100% certainty, but for what I can tell you, now doesn't mean he hasn't pitched somewhere, either recreationally or somewhere along the way, but from what I can tell, he has not pitched competitively in a league since 2018. It doesn't mean he's going to struggle. I'm telling you, I'm just telling you the track record is it's been a while for him. 2018, he pitched in the White Sox Summer League team in the Dominican. Last time he pitched the big leagues was in 17, as I mentioned. He's not pitched in affiliated ball. He pitched in the winter in Dominican in 17-18 in 3 ball games, and he pitched in 5 games in the rookie league in 2018. That's all I've got. Now, I'm going to double check when I get there today from Connor Ryan, because he was going to look for it as well. But I don't believe he's pitched in Taiwan. I don't believe he's pitched in Korea or the Nippon. I'm usually pretty in tune to that. I know who usually is pitching there that's a foreigner in those countries with my relationship with Baseball Australia. And I don't think he's been pitching anywhere. Now, doesn't mean he's not been – it doesn't mean he's not been pitching. That's what I'm telling you. He's not been game pitching is what I'm telling you. But he's a lefty from big leaguer. He's a big guy. 6'5", 235. High roller board. So, in Dominican Republic. And I'm sure there are going to be guys. I'm sure there are several guys familiar with him. I'm sure they've seen him around, just checking where he pitched in AAA. Toledo back in 17. Had good numbers there in 16 ball games, all in relief, 2.25. Climbed their system, Lakeland, a couple of years in Lakeland, Dunedin with the Blue Jays. Just kind of made the steady climb. Career numbers in 8 seasons of the minors, 18 and 36, 3.62. 481 strikeouts in 486 innings. So there you go. That's your story right there. It's a Jairo Laborde will go tonight against Justin Donatello. We know Donatello's story here, and that'll be the matchup in this one. Monarchs just need one more. And one more win, we'll move along and see what happens. Keith, good to see you, bud. Lumber recovery specialist. Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate you. Last call for questions and comments tonight is to what to look for. It's the same thing we've talked about. Sioux City will try to, and they're not going to be afraid of the bullpen. We saw this on Saturday night. If they get a lead at any point, 4th inning onward, do not be shocked to see them go to the bullpen. If they had it, let's just say the game's 3-1, 3-2, 2-0, Sioux City in the 3rd or 4th, or the 4th inning, going to the 5th, I would see them in the 5th inning going to the bullpen. It would not shock me to see that bullpen up and be them and having guys, running guys out there. It would not shock me. Patrick Leday, who's on 5 days rest, would be a guy to go out there, although he would probably start tomorrow. But we'll find out more when we get there. I'll talk about that at 6 o'clock tonight. But we've seen Steve Montgomery do that. He'll lock that pin down. Now, Kansas City is just do what they've been doing. They've got it set up. Everyone's rested. Donatello would be huge to get 6 tonight. And he doesn't – here's the deal for Justin. He doesn't have to be Matt Hall tonight. He doesn't have to be Kebas Sampson. He's just going to be Justin Donatello, which has been very good this year. I mean, Donatello's been very, very good. And we've, I don't want to say we slept on him because we haven't. He's been very good in the right spots. His starts against Chicago and against Sioux City the last couple of times have been great. And you just got to go out there and do what you do. And I think that's the relaxing thing about this pitching staff. They don't got to go out there and worry about keeping it 2-0, 4-0. I mean, they just go out and throw strikes and throw strikes because this offense will get a chance. This Monarchs team will have a chance. So I would look for tonight, if Sioux City gets a lead, the bullpen summit early. Kansas City, just got to be Kansas City. That's all you got to do is be Kansas City, and you're on the bus coming home afterwards. Pretty simple. All hands on deck. Should be interesting tonight. And I don't know what the pitch count will be. And that's another thing, too. With Laborde, I don't know what his pitch count will be. They've emptied the tank a couple times, some guys. I don't know what his count will be. I don't know when he pitched. Again, from what I can tell you and all the sources I've dug in, I haven't seen it. I don't know where he's been pitching because it ain't anything that's been publicized. Not Mexico, not Dominican Republic, nowhere. Now, it doesn't mean he hasn't been pitching somewhere, but what his pitch count will be, I don't know. So, it's all hands on deck. Skyler says, good luck. Keep on winning. Yes, Skyler, no doubt about it. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, it is all hands on deck. And you got to win one to get to number 2, number 3. To get to Wednesday, they've got to win, and they've had their backs against the wall, and they came out of it, and they've got their backs now firmly against the wall, and they have no room for error. Kansas City playing on house money, but I get the feeling that again, it's hard to win on the road. It's hard to win here. Anyway, we can watch at home, Heather. Yes, aabaseball.tv. Now that's going to cost you. Let me put this up on the screen. aabaseball.tv. I'll put this on the screen for you guys. And then you can also tune in on our radio call, which is going to be, and I'll put this on the screen for you. Sorry about that. Already loaded in the schedule. I'm ready to go tonight. Now I think that's $12.99 per month, but if you that's going to be there. That's going to be the video of Sioux City, and their audio of Connor Ryan is great, but he's not our guy. I don't know who our guy is. Who our guy is, I don't know. There is where you can see it. That's our radio broadcast right there, MixLR. And aabaseball.tv is the video broadcast. There's your video. And then there is our audio right there. How about that? There we go. One more thing before we go. Very, very cool last night. This is always one of the things I love about being part of the Monarchs family. And when this goes back to the years, even when I was with the T-Bones, our host parents. I've got a bag of goodies there on my shoulder that's about almost gone. And the host parents, first off, thank you for what you've done for us this year. And number 2, I'm going to show you guys some of this. This is last night there at the ballpark. Our host parents meeting us and seeing us off. And I think it's cool. I think it's really cool. I think this means more to me than if it was 10,000 fans seeing us off, which would be cool. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to see a bunch of people see us off, but let me share the screen with you here. Oops, sorry about that. Let me share this screen with you. And there we go. Somewhere. There we go. Let me share this with you. This is last night. This is from my Facebook page here. This is our host parents, families there, waving away there. Just really good people. Just there's the hearts and the menses, and I can't tell that isn't the mask. Oh, this is great. All the players are my favorite. Go KC. I think that's Nate Herron's bunch right there. Nate right behind him there. Video. Woo! This is the video. See those sides, guys. All right. Marshmallow. All his players. There we go. They're the boys again. I love that. All the players are my favorite. Isn't that great? That's the team getting on the bus. They're gonna drop out Twinkies. Hey, thank y'all again so much. Much love to y'all. We love y'all. Thank y'all. And that is our host folks last night, and we do appreciate them for stopping by, and much love to them. So thankful for them and what they do. Oops, sorry. I'll probably stop that. There we go. Thank you again. And I want to thank Dorothy Buckelman and also the Greers, just personally for all the things they've done this year. Dorothy and the Great Banana Bread. Got to tell you, great stuff. Yeah, but I want to share that with you guys. They were at the ballpark last night, seeing us off, and really cool. And I really appreciate what they've done. So, all right, that's it for the show. We'll have a show tomorrow. Well, here's the deal. Monarchs win tonight. We'll have a show tomorrow, but I don't know when it'll be, because I don't know what time we'll get back. I don't know what we'll be doing. I don't know what kind of state of mind I'll be in if we win tonight, right? But we'll have a show at some point tomorrow. It may be short. Hey, this is what we're doing. We'll definitely have something. But as the week goes on, we will get on at the lunchtime, get it going for you guys. Watch party tonight. Oops, sorry, I just dropped my phone on my foot. That hurt. Let me give this to you guys. Watch party tonight. There it is on the screen. I bring this down so you can see it. I got game notes to get to, too. Well, I'm running behind today already. $10 Legends Club watch party night. All you can eat pyramid pizza, $5 beers, $5 arenas, free parking tonight at the Legends Club there at the ballpark. Love to have you guys out tonight in seeing the ball game tonight. Now, again, the broadcast will be on the association site, which is aabaseball.tv. We do know that, and that'll be Connor Ryan's call right there. And don't forget, by the way, 3:30 today on Facebook with the association, American Association Facebook, Carter Waddell will have Colin Willis on. So you don't want to definitely check that out. But again, the aabaseball.tv, that's where to go to watch the video. Now, our call is on the Monarchs Broadcast Network, which usually is aabaseball.tv at home, but because there's no audio option for each team, you get to watch the game from Sioux City. The only trade-off is you don't get the Kansas City call. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just like the folks in Sioux City had to listen to me last week or over the weekend. They had to listen to my call, which was Kansas City's call. And I'm glad they listened to us, but Connor Ryan is their guy. And I hope that I'm your guy. And if you want to do that, the idea is to take the aabaseball.tv video, the MixLR app, and take them on the same. I've got them right here on my screen. I've got them next to each other. You can mute one, mute the aabaseball.tv, and you have to kind of sync them up. They may be a little off, but if you work at it close enough and you should be able to sync them up pretty close and have them going. That's my recommendation. So that'll be tonight. Again, aabaseball.tv. We'll be on at 6:35 tonight. We return to J.L. Wilkinson's ancestral home, the founder of the Monarchs. Also talk about the 1942 Negro League World Series as well tonight. All that on the broadcast. Joe Capiatri as well. Also, we'll look at both the series game in the North as Fargo and Chicago play at Newman Outdoor as well tonight. And get you rolling in this one and any other news and notes we come up with. I'll be with you at Facebook Live between 6 and 6:15. That'll also be carried to the Legends Club tonight as well. So I may be just a little bit past 6 for you folks, but on Facebook Live with a Monarchs Live pregame from here in Sioux City. All right, broadcast time again tonight at 6:35 from here in Sioux City, Iowa. Looking forward to it. Hey, game 3. Got to get one more. Need 27 outs to go for a Good News Monday and take a series here and go on to the finals in the American Association. You guys ready to go? We'll see you on the broadcast tonight. And let's bring this down. Let's bring this down. I'll get everybody ready. You guys ready? We'll go Monarchs. Here we go. Let me get the coffee here. All right. Here we go. Everybody ready? You guys ready? In a 1, 2, 3. I'm ready. I think I'm ready. All right, here we go. All right. 1, 2, 3. Go Monarchs. I'll see you on the broadcast tonight, everybody.